Hello guys, in this video we need now to start the installation of our NAS device and add it to the network. Let us start. I need to access now to my VMware, and in VMware definitely we need from file create a new virtual machine, custom advanced next, orchestration 15 next, and here your disk image wherever you have it. I have it in this folder, and this is my ISO image, and it tells me free BSD version 10 and earlier, 64-bit detected. I will call this one just as a free NAS. Next. Now number of processors, I have 2x4, so I will give 2x3. Next. Now for the RAM, you remember the recommendation is to have 8 GB. But what I will do, I will just add 200, maybe 84 or 48 megabyte, 2 GB. Next. And here currently, to which network do you want to connect it? Use network NAT, we'll keep it like this for now. Now for the controllers, input output, LSI logic recommended one, keep it. For virtual disk SCSI, keep it, and we need to create a new virtual disk. Now the recommendation is to have 8 GB for this type. So the first hard disk, I can make it 8 GB for the operating system. Store virtual disk as a single file. Next, next, and finish. My machine is being created. I'll just drag and drop it in here above Victoria Server 1 and edit virtual machine settings. I will add to it another virtual hard disk, because in the future I want to install SQL on this NAS. So again, this is SCSI connection, create a new virtual disk, and with this one I will give it 30 GB and store it as single file. Next, and finish. So I have 6 for the 8 GB for the operating system and 30 for the installation later. I can power it on now. And we get this screen as we see here. Now we can boot a free NAS installer by just type enter or hit enter, and the system automatically start to boot. Waiting for the main screen now, and we get now the main screen. So what do I try to do? I need now with number 1 to install. I don't need to access to shell or robust system or shutdown. Hit enter. Now this computer has less than the recommended 8 GB of RAM. This is the warning. Operation without enough RAM is not recommended. Continue anyway, and yes, continue. Then select one or more drivers where free NAS should be installed. So as you see here, I have 2 network adapter, 8 GB and 30 GB. So I'll install it on the smallest one, which is 8 GB according to the recommendation. And you need to select at least 1 disk. Okay, so install first, sorry, continue, yes. We need to click space, make sure the asterisk is in there on DA0, and then hit enter for OK. Warning, this will erase all partition. You cannot use DA0 for sharing data, just for operating system. Installing on flash media is preferred to installing on a hard drive. Proceed with the installation, yes, hit enter. And password for the root. And the root, for the Linux and Unix system, root is the main administrator. And again, I use the same password in all labs, so I'm not going to forget it later. Either it is computer, either it is such a device, etc. Now, free NAS can be booted in either BIOS or UEFI mode. Some devices doesn't support it, especially when you use a virtual environment. So I recommend to use a BIOS. Otherwise, later, once you finish the installation, you try to boot the device, it's not going to boot. But with some devices, it works. It depends. Now we're just waiting for it. Installing base operating system now, 1 of 4. And the installation on DA0 is succeeded. Hit enter now to restart your device, and we need to reboot, and make sure your ISO image is not attached to the device anymore, because I don't want to boot from the ISO image. Access to FreeNAS settings, and in the FreeNAS settings, just for the DVD in here, I just need to make sure this one is not in there anymore. Select OK. You need to specify it or use the physical drive if you want, just to get off it. The Quest operating system has logged the CD-ROM door and is probably using the CD-ROM, whatever. Yes. Reboot the system now. Now we need to assign to it some IP addresses, and then we will be able to access to it and configure it. Let us jump back just to the diagram. In the diagram currently, my plan was to use Victoria PC1 to access to the device and manage it. But this is currently not possible, and the reason because Victoria PC1, as you see, is only connected to private switch 1, and it has the IP address of 192.168.0. something, because it has dynamic IP address assigned to it through the DHCP on the main domain controller. So anyway, it doesn't work with the subnet 2.x IP address. So that's why we won't be able to use Victoria PC1 to access to the storage, unless if we want to add maybe another network adapter. And the network adapter, the second one, we need to connect it in that case to private switch 1. So by this, all the devices now can access to the switch. There is no need to go through the SQL node to access, not to the switch, I mean access to the storage. No need to go through the SQL nodes to access to that storage. Realize this is not recommended. A lab purpose, if you like to do it like this, it will be fine. Just add a second network adapter, assign to it an IP address like 192.168.0.30 connected to this private switch 1. And then you can use Victoria PC1, the web browser on it, to access and manage the network adapter for us, or the storage area network. For us, what we will do, instead of using the web browser on Victoria PC1 to access to the FreeNAS, I'll keep it as is. And then I will use either Victoria Server 1 or Server 2, use the web browser in there to access to the NAS and manage it. This is the plan. Restart the process would take a few minutes, so just wait for it. It's not a direct process. And as you see now, currently I have the similar look of core server. When you type sconfig, usually you will get something similar, but the background is just blue. Okay, here what do I try to do? I'll try to configure my network interface, because currently it shows me that you can manage it using this IP address, which is not correct. Here I cannot access to it using this IP address. So for me, I want now to configure network interface. I don't have an option 2 link aggregation. I don't need to configure it. VLAN, have nothing to do with it. Default root, static root, I have nothing with it. DNS, no need. We don't need to reset root password and reset configuration to defaults. Well, the system still has the default configuration. Shell, if you want to run commands, reboot and shut down. Okay, option 1 is the one which we need. So I'll type 1, hit enter. Now we have only a single interface, this one, which is E0, represented by index 1. So again, I will hit 1. Now the system asks me select the interface is being selected, remove the current setting of this interface, and the answer here is supposed to be no. Maybe the logic say yes, but just answer no. And now it's asking you if you want to configure interface for DHCP. No, we want to set a static IP address. Now configure IP version for yes. And the interface name, as we see, let us call it maybe just call it NAS interface. There I just have another key. So with this one, I will call it NAS interface. And now the system asks me to set an IP address. So 192.168. Don't forget 2.30. Just check one more the design we have it. and the IP address supposed to be belong to 2 network, and the IP address for the NAS is 230. Correct. Now we need to hit enter, and IP version for netmask is 255.255.255.0. hit enter. Saving interface configuration, okay. Configure IP version 6, no. And restart network, and all is good. And as you see, currently the web user interface is at 192.168.2.30. I need now to use this IP address to see if I can manage now the NAS. Otherwise, I won't be able to manage it from here. So I can jump to Victoria Server 2, because Victoria Server 2 and Victoria Server 1, both of them, they will be able to access to the NAS, as we see, because both of them, they have a third network adapter connected to this switch, and through it they can access to the NAS. Good. So just let us open Internet Explorer. And Internet Explorer, I try to access to 192.168.2.30. hit enter. We will see if there is a response or not. Okay, I tried to access to the internet. Let us try to figure out again. Just to try to use the main interface, the NAT one, to access it through to the internet, not to be directed through the 2 network. So that's why I need to fix it. Now the main problem was in here in the free NAS. If I access to the settings, look to the network adapter is connected by default to the NAT, and that now need to be fixed according to the diagram I have in here. Need to be connected to pre-switch 3, so it can access through the devices. That's why we need now to configure it with custom to pre-switch 3. So okay, all good. Now we give it a try again from Victoria Server 2. If I try to ping it, let us see. See, now I can ping it. Before I wasn't able even to ping it. And now if we check the network or the web browser, here I wasn't able to access before. If I refresh now, we have a free NAS. Just waiting the system now to get the right information. It will ask me also about username and password to login, the root username and the password which we set it. Okay, so as we see, the Internet Explorer, I cannot use it to access to the NAS, so that's why it's better to access to Google. And in Google, try to download Chrome. And once you have the Chrome, you will get your Google Chrome. Then from here, try to access to HTTP 192.168.230. And the free NAS now is working. As we see, we have the main interface. Now set a new root account password. Here we have a password, the old one, and we need to confirm it again. Let us see if it's going to accept it. Sign in. You might expect some latency, because remember, here we just set now 2 GB of RAM. If you set 8, it will become faster. I will save root password and the password. No need for synchronization. Expand the web browser, and this is your free NAS. And you can see in here how many like tools and facilities do you have, comparing to use just a Microsoft storage box. So that's why I recommend you to use this one to have a real experience now with NAS devices. Now the installation is succeeded, and we successfully also access it through our page to the NAS, so we can manage it. And that's all what we have it in this video. Thanks for watching.